Hello and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today we are looking at dies again. I did some die cards a week or so ago and they seem to be very popular. So I thought we'd do some more ideas with dies. This time I've taken the Give It a Whirl dies purely because they've got these little stars in. So you want some smallish dies. You could use the little hearts, you could use any small dies that you've got that will give a shape. And what you're going to do is you are going to take, this is one of the stitched colour and contour stitch shapes, but any stitch shape, you could even just cut out a rectangle. And you are going to put your dies in and cut out lots of holes. So we want them to be exciting looking holes, which is why I've done them with stars. As I say, you can use whatever shapes you've got. And I've done this purely because I wanted to put it onto, it's going to go on, if I put that like that, you can see how many I've cut out. I've tried to sort of put as many in the shape as I can, and this is going to go at the end, it's going to go onto a piece of white, so a card base. I've chosen this because I've got this over from some Easter cards, so it's using things that you've already cut out, and a mat in on there. So we've got a 1/4 inch mat and another 1/4 inch mat. This is going to go in on top, and we are going to take lots of scraps. Now you know how I enjoy using scraps. These are literally just little pieces, and all I've done is I've cut them into little strips. Now these strips are 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch, or even smaller. The smaller you can get them, the better, because these are only small images. So what you want is something that is going to be quite bright. Now you could put this on with double sticky sheets, so you can then do it that way. I'm just going to do it with wet glue. I could do it with tear and tape, but I don't think I'm going to have enough. Let me see if I can do it with, I might be able to do it with what do you call it, stamp and seal. This is a one that I was given, so I'm using it up. I don't know whether it's actually very good at the moment. It doesn't seem to be rolling on very well. Let's see how much I can get over on here. I think I've only got a bit of it left, and I don't know quite how good it is. I've never been very good with these ones at all. I always struggle. You're supposed to do it at different angles, and it doesn't matter what make it is. I struggle with all of them. The only ones I didn't was snail. Snail seemed to be perfect because it had that little click, 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 and off you went. These aren't as easy, but I'm just going to persevere just for a bit to see if I can or not. And if I can't, it's sticking onto my finger, it's just not sticking to here. Will it? No, it's not going to go. Let me see if I can have, sorry for faffing about, I was given a couple, so let me see if I've got another one about. If not, I might have my, let's have a look and see what I've got in here. Right, that's my Seal Plus, or Stamping Seal. Let's see if I can get that one to work. Oops, I think I might have done. It looks as if it's coming out, is it? No. I don't know what it is about me and these things. This is why I use wet glue all the time, but I wanted to show that you could on this if you wanted to, but as I say, I don't think it's, oh maybe it is, getting a bit goopy, but so if you can use this well, then use this. If not, just use some wet glue, or you can use, as I say, anything else. Now hopefully I've got enough on here, we'll have to see. Now obviously we've got it upside down, so you want whatever colours you're going to use to be the opposite way up, and all we're going to do is we're just going to lay them across. Whoops, it's probably not going to have glued enough to be able to lay them across. Let's see. If it hasn't, then what I might have to do is that going to stick on there? Maybe. If it hasn't, I'm just going to use some wet glue on it, because I know that wet glue will work. And we're going to put another one in next to it. And as I say, what we're doing is we're doing it upside down. So just smooth it across and just take different colours. But as I say, remember to put them in upside down. So I'm just taking the colours that I've cut, and I'm just, whoops, it's quite sticky. We're going to, these aren't going to, I'm going to do, right, if you, let's just take this. I've done this glue on here, but it's really not working very well. So the best thing to use is wet glue. Wet glue will keep it all nice and sticky where you want it. So just literally make sure you go round your little pieces like this. And you can see this is why I use wet glue more than anything else, because I find it really easy. If you're somebody who works well with the runner tape, whatever brand you use, then you know, feel free to use those. As I say, I just don't get on with them. I find that they don't stick very well, and for something like this you do want it to stick quite well. So you can die cut them out with a sticky sheet and then peel all of that off, and you know that that will probably work quite well. But I'm just doing it with this for now, because then with a bit of luck we might be able to get going now. Okay, so we're going to take these pieces and we're just going to put them in just as close together as you can get them comfortably, like that. And then I was going to put this blue on, wasn't I, that just didn't. And these are literally just little scraps that I've got over from designer series paper that I've had for a long time. So all I'm doing is I'm just taking these and just putting them in over the top all the way down. I'm just going to get this. You can see I've got more glue on my fingers, or runner tape on my fingers, than on anything else. I'm very good at being able to roll it on, but I'm not very good to actually take it on. So I've got all sorts of different colours on here, but as I say, I want them to be the opposite way. So I'm putting them upside down. I'm looking at the colours and going, oh, I like this colour, the lemon. So the lemon is going to come down this way, and I'm doing it at an angle because I want it to look nicely on an angle. And we'll just stick those on. And I've got something on here, it's another bit of a green. So we just keep putting it down all the way along. It doesn't have to be exact on each one. You can just do it how you, so you don't have to repeat the pattern. You can do it quite random. I'm trying to do it fairly random, although I don't want the same two colours next to each other. So I am trying to get it so that they will come slightly different. But you can see how easy they stick with the wet glue on there. I think they work pretty well with wet glue. So I'm just taking them all the way along like this. And I'm going to just keep going with different colours all the way down. And I'm doing this just, you'll actually see it after, but I'm doing it just before Easter. So I'm just getting everything ready and prepared for the Easter break. And I'm going round to family for a Easter meal, which will be lovely. And hopefully the weather is going to be lovely. I actually managed to get into my garden this week, which was a real treat. The weather has been either way too cold or way too wet. They evidently said that in the UK that March has been the wettest year on record for 40 years or something, and I can quite believe it. It has been the most awful, wet, horrible March. I haven't been able to get anything planted in my greenhouse at all. It's just been terrible. So if you've been able to get, wherever you are, if you have nicer weather and been able to get out in your garden, then it makes a real difference, I think. It certainly does to me. I'm somebody who I really enjoy having time out in the garden. I think it makes such a difference to be able to be out in the sunshine. What they say, lots of vitamin D is good for you. And it's certainly the sort of thing that, you know, if you don't get a lot, you do struggle I struggle in the winter months. I'm out every day irrespective. So sometimes in the last few weeks I have got so wet because it literally rained and rained and rained. Whereas now we're well into April, it started to get a little bit nicer. So I'm hoping that we might get some nice weather. By the time you see this, you'll see this in a week or so's time, because I try and get myself ahead of myself when I'm making my videos, purely because if I decide I'm going to do something or go away or something like that, then I've always got at least a week, if not 2 weeks, ready for you. So there's lots for you to see. And I try to do something that is not brand specific, as it were. You know I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator, but I do try and bring you things that you can do with what you've got, because I know a lot of you say, oh, I haven't got this or I haven't got that, but I can use what I've got. And that's the whole idea behind it all. It's use what you've got, because we all have little scraps of paper over. We all have or most of us will have some dies of some sort. If you haven't got dies, use a punch. Punch some little things out. If not, do some circles and use a craft knife. There's all sorts of ways round this. I'm just going to have a little green one, I think. Of course, it's sticking to me now. But, use the pieces that you've got. You just want to have, because this is quite a small image that we're working with, you do want to have something that is going to be quite small. You don't want to cut your papers too big. Now, I think that's as many as we need on here. So I just need to make sure that this is all stuck down. Now, this was the first one that I did with that Stampin' Sealy stuff. So I'm just going to put some glue on here because I didn't have any glue. So it wasn't going to stick down. But as you can see, everything with the nice wet glue sticks down perfectly. There we go. Okay, so now we need to take this up, and just looking for I had my scissors out. There we go. I'm just making sure I've got my snips. So we're going to take this up. Hopefully it hasn't stuck too much to the side. I don't think it will have done. Just take it up carefully, because some of these bits might have just stuck. Turn it over. Oops. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut all of these pieces round. So we've got, this is in fact, what I can do is I can cut it so it's just in underneath this piece here. I'm just going to take it round because we've got this little scallops on here. Makes it a little bit more difficult, but if you've got a little bit showing, it doesn't matter actually. It makes it look quite nice. So we're going to take all of this round here. Right the way round. As I say, if you have a one that hasn't got the fluted edges, it might be easier to stick, but I don't think it'll make a huge amount of difference. Put that one in on here, round on that bit. But what it gives you is, and as I say, you can use whatever papers you want. I'm able to cut this out underneath a bit so that doesn't show. And then I'm going to take this down and try and cut this just underneath a bit so it's not going to show underneath the... Just have to be careful that you're not cutting your scallops off, and it depends how well it's stuck. It's stuck quite well in on here, but let's just make sure we take it round off on this bit. And obviously if you want to do another one, you can use some of these little pieces again, the smaller pieces. Just cut this underneath like that so it doesn't come out. Just want to take that one off a bit. There we go. Okay, so we now have this rather lovely pattern underneath the stars. Then what we need to do is we need to put some glue dots over the top, because we don't want we want it to be covered up quite well. So I've got quite a lot of as I said, I was given quite a few glue dots. I've been doing some classes with at a group that I go to, so I've was given all of these to use, so I have been using them quite a bit. So I'm basically just going to put all of these in on here, and we want to stick it up quite nicely, so you know, don't be shy on your dimensionals. I can use these quite easily because, as I say, these were given to me, so I haven't had to buy them. And I know that, you know, if things are tight, then you can always just cut out some more pieces of paper to give the height and just stick them on the back, and then just put it on so that you have some height on there. As I say, because I was given these ones, they are they're going to work quite well on here, and I can just literally just stick them on, and we'll have some in the middle. Whenever you do dimensionals, make sure that you have enough in the middle, otherwise you end up with a saggy middle, and a saggy middle isn't very good at all, because as soon as you put it down, you'll end up with it bowing. So let's take this up, take all of these pieces off. Now I've done a sort of a mustardy background for this one, because as I say, it was left over from some Easter cards that I was making. But you can take any sort of colours that you've got. I'm trying to, as I say, use up everything that I've got, because I'm more than aware, having spoken to, you know, a lot of my customers and friends and crafters out there, everybody is being a little bit more careful at the moment. You know, they're not, you know, yes, if it happens to be your birthday or maybe Christmas, you might, you know, indulge with some Christmas money or get bought things, but the rest of the time it is quite difficult. And so I'm trying to do more things with what we've got rather than spending more. So it makes, oh, there's me just turning around and saying it looked as if it was nice. It's literally just started pouring with rain. So if it gets very dark in a minute, you'll know why. Okay, so with this, I'm going to put it on here, and I haven't decided whether I want to have it vertically or horizontally. I'm just going to put it sort of in the center here, and we'll just see. But that gives that sort of height to it, which is what I wanted. Then I can put it in on here, And I think I might have, I don't know, what I've done is, I'm going to put it on here for now. It's quite subtle actually. I don't even know if I want the yellow on the back, although I've picked up some of the yellow and orange so that it'll work. And then what I did was I have taken the Peaceful Moments dies. Life is better with a friend like you. As I said, I send a lot of cards with friends. And what I did was I've just literally stamped it, fussy cut it out in white, and then backed it in black and fussy cut it round, because at the moment there seems to be an awful lot of stamps and dies that have these borders, you know, double mounted as it were. And rather than spending money on the dies and things to work, you know, do it yourself. It's quite easy to just cut it out. Now I'm going to change this because I don't like it on the white. I don't think it looks very good on the white, although I've probably stuck it down on there. I'm going to put it onto black, I think, because I think black will work better. So let's just have a little look at this and see if I've got any black cut, which I probably have. I normally have bits and pieces cut all the time. So let me have a look. This definitely needs to go on to black. So let me have a look and see what whether I've got any that are cut. Okay, that's black on there. That on there. What I need it to do is it needs to be cut onto. We don't want this white at the back. So I'm literally just going to take this out. I can actually take it right underneath like that, because the white just doesn't pick it up enough. So I'm just going to take that out. And this is why with cards, even when you start something and you go, not sure about that, you can change it. There's no reason why you can't change it. So I'm just cutting that, making sure that goes underneath. I don't think it's quite underneath enough on here. Just let me trim this off. I'm losing light now because it's going to be, just started raining quite bad. Okay, I think that's going to be okay. So I'm going to put this, whoops, take all of those bits out. Right, we're going to have the black down there. We're going to have that, that's better. We're going to have that in on the black. And then we're going to have this in over the top like that. Because that gives far more of an impact on there. I don't think you need any more. The yellow just didn't do anything for it at all. Didn't like it. I could, if I wanted to, I could cut some of the yellow a bit bigger and have it in 3 like that. That might work quite well. In fact, that I think would work better. So let's take this one down. Have I got one that's a bit smaller? That looks a little bit smaller than that, doesn't it? Yes. Okay, I'm going to just trim this down, because what I don't want is for it to come out and it not look the way I want it. So this is how you can sort of play around to make sure the colours work. So I want this at 5 1/4, which it is, and I want this at 3 1/2 on here. And then that'll come down as my 1/4 of an inch on those. So just put that down like that. Then we'll have this in the center, so that gives the border there. So we've got some of this nice there. That's going to go in on here. That's better. And then this is going to go in on the top like that, over the top. And I think probably fairly centered, maybe down like that. And you could always put something else as well. But I think it makes a fun idea for a card where you've got the cutout part and that's what you're working with. Now, come back for the next video, because I'm going to be doing all the little stars that cut out of this, which are on here. So the next card is going to have all of these pieces that I cut out of here, we're going to do a card with that, and we're going to do more of the strips, and we're going to have some fun with that, but have it more of a floating card. So I hope you enjoyed that. As always, please stay safe and well. Please be kind, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.